We actually see as Mary goes back up into the top part of Matthew's house and she opens up a chest. But I want to go through this scene in particular because there's some interesting things that are happening here. We see as Mary goes back upstairs. She's in Matthew's house, remember. This is their base of operations. This is the place where they're going to be and where they're staying and where all the ministry is basically taking place out of. We see her open this massive lock, which is so funny to me. And she opens up this chest. Now she's here because Zebedee needs more money for the ministry because they've used all the money basically to buy this olive grove. And so now they're actually opening up this chest because there is another donation from Joanna that they've received. So they've already used the large donation that she gave before, and now she's given another donation. And we actually know that she's going to continue to do this. She's going to continue to give donations throughout Jesus' ministry overall. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Now we see Mary looks in here. We can see a bunch of different textiles and scrolls and different valuables that Matthew would have held in here. But there's one thing in particular that she points out. That is a box, which inside of it has tassels, also known as tzitzit. Now, we've talked about tzitzit a lot on this channel and talking about the significance of them. This would have been connected to the talid, which is a garment that all Jewish men would have wore. And the tzitzit in particular are very, very important because they are a delineation, a symbol of the Torah, a symbol of the law, right? So it's a symbol of carrying that with you. Really, truthfully and honestly, it's a symbol of being Jewish because no matter what you were wearing, people could identify you as being Jewish because of the tzitzit that were hanging below. And we talk about this a lot in scripture. In fact, either Paul or Jesus, I think it's Jesus that talks about this. He talks about the Pharisees not making their tzitzit super, super long to kind of be boastful and boisterous about how Jewish they are. And so here, the tzitzit are missing from Matthew. Now, if we go very, very far backward in the episode, and let me try to do this without making too much of a commotion or messing this up, but if we go very, very far back in the episode, we can actually come to this point here where we see Matthew and we see all the rest of the disciples here. But there's something that is missing with Matthew. And let me see if I can get this pause correctly. So it's very hard to see in this exact moment. There's a closer moment later that I'll get to. But if we look at all of the disciples, we see that all of them have tzitzit except for Matthew. Meaning that Matthew has not deemed himself worthy of being a Jew again. Now, this is extremely important. It means that Matthew, yes, is back in the fold. Yes, he's been forgiven by his parents. Yes, he's been called by Jesus, but he doesn't consider himself a Jew. He hasn't put them back on since he stopped wearing his tax collector outfit. This is the last piece of his outfit that is actually missing. And I think this is going to be a big part of episode 7. I think it has to be in episode 7 because it's going to be before the feeding the 5,000 and episode 8 and all of that stuff. So episode 7, I think we're going to get a moment. Now we know from the behind the scenes that we actually see Mary and Matthew have a conversation. And in this conversation, we know that it's a very emotional, sort of like very intense moment between Mary and Matthew specifically. And so I think this is going to be that moment where Matthew receives his tzitzit back and she gives it to him, telling him, hey, you can be part of this group. Hey, you belong. Hey, you are a Jew, like you're part of this. But we can see here closer, everybody else has them on their clothing. We can see John's, we can see Big James, we can see Simon's. They all have tzitzit except for Matthew. And this is a big deal. It's a big deal because people would have recognized him as not being a devout Jew, which is a big deal, especially during that time. So I wonder what we'll see here. But seeing Mary kind of pull those out and having that idea later on, obviously gives us a hint that we're going to see her do something with those. And I wonder what that's going to be. So let's check out the rest of this scene here. So she grabs them, she puts them back, and she leaves them in this box as she takes the money with her and she heads out. And that's pretty much it. We do see several bags of coins in there as well. So I wonder how much money they actually have in their treasury, right? That Judas is in charge of. And a lot of people have been asking this as well. They thought this scene was her kind of maybe guessing that Judas was stealing money. I don't think Judas is going to steal money yet. I think that is pretty far off, to be honest with you. I think that we're going to see that in seasons 5, probably. Season 4, maybe a little bit. Then season 5 for sure, and then season 6 for sure. We're going to see more and more of that progression of Judas kind of going to the dark side, so to speak. So yeah, that's just a small scene. I wanted to check that out and talk to you about the tzitzit and understanding of like what's kind of going on there, because Mary obviously is worried about it, and she obviously has some sort of feelings for Matthew, and so she's going to want to see him be restored and be whole and not hold that shame that she's holding. Right? And maybe that heals both of them at the same time. Could be a cool storyline from the next episode. Hey, if you like this short part of our live stream, you can check out the full 5-hour live stream over on our Patreon at patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is literally the best way that you can help to support our ministry, and it really means a ton to us. You can contact us anytime through the chat on there, and you too could be like these amazing people that just joined our Patreon over the last few weeks. Thank you so much to all you amazing, amazing people, and thank you for supporting our ministry and what God has asked us to do.